I don't think I have to say anything in the presence of such distinguished panelists, but I would like to explain sort of broadly what we're doing. Nowadays, when anybody wants to fix Afghanistan, they have a political piece, which is sort of what we started off with in the morning. They have a security piece. We sort of touched on that. They have a piece about sort of reconciliation and dealing with the Taliban, which is what we're going to do after this. But they also have a regional framework piece. And when people do critiques of what's going wrong, they generally come down very heavily on the failure to put together an effective regional framework which might support progress in Afghanistan. And I suspect this is what we're going to address now, given the distinguished panelists that we got together. We're going to start off with the home team, which is Hassan Abbas, and I'm just going to leave it to everybody to come in with your contribution to the regional piece, 15 minutes each, and biting questions at the end.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. I think we all know that there is a consensus among historians, analysts, security experts, that historically developments within Afghanistan have been inextricably linked with the region, especially on one side Russia, on the other side Pakistan and Afghanistan, Iran also, China increasingly as well. And within this context, Pakistan has been playing a pivotal role in terms of a country which has huge impact on Afghanistan and which is in itself hugely impacted by Afghanistan. In these 15 minutes, I'll try to answer three basic questions. First, whether Pakistan is ready to accept a negotiation on which it will have influence but maybe not full control. Secondly, how the evolution of Pakistan's internal situation impacts its Afghan Taliban policy. And last but not the least, how situation in Afghanistan influences situation in Pakistan. The first question, straight away, whether Pakistan will accept a position where it will be able to influence but not manage, not micromanage or not control negotiations in Afghanistan. For this, I would invite you to think about Pakistan's mindset, especially the mindset of Pakistan's security establishment, which calls all the shots in this regard, and also the strategic culture within Pakistan. My understanding is that Pakistan yearns for recognition of its importance, of its significance within the region. WikiLeaks has made our task a bit easier. For instance, there is this one report which was published, one cable, which I'll very briefly mention, which said that when Pakistan's Army Chief General Kiani was here as part of this member of the strategic dialogue that was taking place a few months ago, within that meeting, there was Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, President Obama walked in. And General Kiani was ready with his 12-pager, a brief of which has been published through WikiLeaks. He started off very clearly right from the word go. He said, well, our efforts in Afghanistan, meaning Pakistan's efforts or contribution within Afghanistan, is not recognized. He said Pakistan's fight against extremists in federally administered tribal areas is not appreciated. He had a long list of his demands for Pakistan military. He also mentioned about Indian influence in Afghanistan. And it is no secret. Even without this WikiLeaks revolution, we knew this. But the mindset is that Pakistan yearns for this recognition, and they want to be recognized as a very important player. There are two examples I'll provide for this. One is, I'll take you back when Pakistan started off its nuclear weapons program. And also the way they developed it, the way after the 1998 tests, Pakistan wanted that it should be recognized as a nuclear state. That is just one example. Secondly, from 2002 to 2003, Pakistan has consistently been saying, and this was also a well-known fact, though substantiated by the WikiLeaks, the fact was that Pakistan was always complaining that they have not been taken into confidence about what the US role and what the US plans are about Afghanistan. And in cables after cables and in various negotiations and conversations, the Pakistani leadership would always say this to the United States, well, we want to be your partners in knowing what is the actual plan. Now, the problem was that the United States itself was not aware what the plan was. But within Pakistan, it was seen as that there is some choreographed plan, there is some larger model which US is pursuing, there is a certain very clear objectives, and we are not taken into confidence. So this is again the mindset that Pakistan believes that its complaints, its grievances have not been listened to. The second point in this regard is whether Pakistan would accept a role where it is not completely managing the situation, negotiations. In that regard, I think there is now increasing recognition within the Pakistan's military infrastructure that peaceful Afghanistan is a necessity for Pakistan, not only to progress, but even to survive. Yes, these recognitions take time to be converted into policy. It is not that just one fine morning you realize about something, whether it is about personal human relationships or whether it's about policy. Even when you recognize that a certain mistake was committed or whether a certain new direction is needed, it takes time. And in countries like Pakistan, where there's dysfunction between different institutions, it is more obvious. So I think, yes, if Pakistan is